Periplaneta americana, which is commonly called as cockroach. Whereas the study of insects we call generally as entomology, and if you take our cockroach is a household pest, and cockroach is considered as mechanical vector, which means transmits the microbes carrying on their legs, and it is tropical mostly and temperate. In some temperate regions it is present. The common species of Periplaneta americana is Blatta orientalis, and along with our Periplaneta americana, that Blatta orientalis is also there, and it is a native of tropical America. Then actually it is now cosmopolitan in distribution, the worldwide in distribution. Burmeister is a scientist who coined the name Periplaneta americana. It's a nocturnal insect. What it mean? It lives that active during night time only. Daytime it going to be in the hide in the crevices. Omnivorous insect. What it mean? Omnivorous. It eats anything. That we say them as omnivorous. And it's a cursorial organism. That means we call it as a swift runner. Then let's come to the taxonomic hierarchy of kingdom cockroach. It belongs to the phylum Arthropoda. When it comes to the kingdom onwards, kingdom Animalia and subkingdom Eumetajoa, grade Bilateria. Division, it belongs to Protostomia, and phylum Arthropoda, subphylum Mandibulata, class Insecta, order Arthroptera, family Blottidae, genus Periplaneta, species Americana. The cockroach is an excellent example. Then the question raises here that why we choose cockroach, why we are selected cockroach for learning. Only reason here to learn the cockroach is among all the insects why we are selected the cockroach as a type study. That because cockroach is an excellent example for the study of insects. That is because its a large size of the body makes it convenient specimen for the dissection and demonstration. Cockroach can enter small crevices in the floor or walls. How is it possible? Because it is having a dorsoventrally flattened body. Why cockroach is called omnivorous? Cockroach eat all types of food. Let's come to the external features of cockroach. Cockroach is an elongated, narrow, elliptical, dorsoventrally depressed body, and the symmetry of cockroach is bilateral symmetry. And the color of cockroach is reddish brown in color with a light yellow area around the edges of pronotum. The tagmata, body division of cockroach. Body division of cockroach, the three tagmata include head, thorax and abdomen. Number of segments in the head are 6. The thorax contain 3. Abdomen, 10 segments are there in abdomen. Whereas what is tagmata? The morphologically distinct parts of the body is said to be tagmata. If let's come to one after another, the tagmata here. When it comes to the head is a small and a triangular object here. The head is a small and triangular tagmata. It is formed by the fusion of 6 embryonic segments. The head of cockroach is called hypognathous head. Hypo, what it means? Hypo means down. That means here ventral side. Gnathos means jaws. Jaws of cockroach is said to be mandibles. That will come. Then let's see here the longitudinal axis of the body. For the longitudinal axis of the body, the head of cockroach is perpendicular. So that what we say, the head of cockroach is arranged perpendicular to the longitudinal axis of the body. The head is connected with the thoracic region with the help of cervicum. This is called cervicum, which connects the head region, the green one, that connected to the thoracic region with the help of cervicum. It lies hanging almost at right angles to the body. That we say the head is hypognathous, and see this here, the cervicum is shown here in the pink color. Actual color is not pink here. That is to show clear visibility. For clear visibility, we made colors here all over this particular document. Whatever the colors are given, that are not actual colors of the cockroach. That is to show the variation between the different body parts. That's we made like so. Let's come to the remaining portions. This is the head, and the head is connected to the thorax with the help of cervicum, which is called short neck, which movably attaches to the head to the thoracic region, and this is abdomen. As we said now, there are three tagmata in cockroach: head, thorax, and abdomen. Then let's go to the head region. That I'll introduce the head here. That head bear a pair of compound eyes. These two are said to be compound eyes. Between the compound eyes, the portion we call vertex, the top of the head between the eyes, is said to be vertex. The vertex contain a small suture, which you say suture, that means nothing but crevice. Epicranial suture we call it as. Epicranial suture divides the epicranium into epicranial plates, and at the basis of the suture we will find the sympuli or ocelli, that is shown in the next diagram. Whereas let's come here, this is a triangular portion. This triangular portion is said to be franz. Then below that we will have a rectangular portion. The rectangular portion below the franz is said to be clypeus, narrow rectangular portion, and below that attached to the ventral edge of the clypeus, labrum is present. Either sides of the franz and clypeus will see the cheek plates. We call them as gynae. Gynae are said to be cheek sclerites. Let's see once again. This is vertex, and this is the epicranial suture. Epicranial suture divides the epicranium into two epicranial plates, and these two are the compound eyes. And below this we will see a triangular portion, we say franz. Then below that, this is the clypeus. Below the clypeus we can see labrum. Either sides of the franz and clypeus, gynae, cheek plates are present. A pair of cheek plates or cheek sclerites we say. Let's see one after another. Vertex, we said the top of the head between the eyes, and epicranial suture, which divides vertex into two epicranial plates, and franz, triangular portion, which present below the epicranial plates, we say franz. The sclerites covering the head in front, and it is triangular, and it is the largest sclerite plate of the head. Remember, the franz is the largest sclerite plate of the head. Below that we see a narrow rectangular clypeus attached to the ventral edge of the clypeus, which is movably attached. Movably attached to the clypeus is the labrum. The covering the sides of the head present either sides of the franz and clypeus, which cover the sides of the head, are said to be gynae. Gynae, remember the two cheek plates, cheek sclerites, are present between the franz and either sides of the franz and clypeus. We call them as gynae. It's the dorsal view of the head region, and again I will show the remaining portions here in the dorsal view. As per our comfort, we made that part separate, not like cockroach. We made the head dorsal view in two diagrams. Some more portions you can see here. Below the epicranial suture, we will see that sympuli or fenestrae or ocellar spot. Fenestrae or sympuli or ocellar spot. It is present at the base of each antenna. Present at the base of each antenna. It's a small whitish speck, you can see. Then now you can see on the screen that antenna, as you may have seen over in the cockroach, is having a longer extensions in the head region when cockroach is moving. These are the antenna. The antenna is buried in the socket. This is called a socket. In the socket, that antenna you can see. Antenna bear three segments. The first, where it is buried in the socket, called scape. Attached to the scape, we can see pedicel and a multi-segmented flagellum. Flagellum is the longest portion here, which was connected to the pedicel. Okay, so then there are three portions we said in case of antenna, that's scale, pedicel and flagellum. This is the ventral view of the head region, head ventral view. There on the ventral side you can see this particular hole opening we call occipital foramen. We said already head is connected to the thoracic region with the help of cervicum. Then that cervicum is connected here, occipital foramen. It's a large opening present at the back of the head, that means in ventral side, bordered by a sclerite called occiput, that was labeled here, you can see. The sclerite we say it as occiput. Okay. It forms a passage for esophagus, aorta, blood vessel, aorta, nerve cord and tracheae, which travels through the cervicum, arise from the occipital foramen and travel through the cervicum. Now let's take a look on the appendages of head region. What is meant by appendage? The outgrowth of the body we can say appendage. Outgrowth, extensions of the head region we are talking, that means as appendages of head. As we already learned that there are 6 segments in the head region. The first segment has no appendages, and second segment, appendage of second segment is said to be antenna. It's a tactile and olfactory receptor. Antenna is touch, tactile we say. Olfactory is a sense of smell. And no appendages on third segment. And you can see the appendages of the fourth segment as a mandible, as a pair of mandibles are present, which will come in the next session. That fifth segment is having an appendage called first maxillae. A pair of first maxillae are present. Appendage of sixth segment is labium. Should remember like this. No appendages on first segment and third segment. Appendage of the second segment is said to be antenna. Then fourth segment, a pair of mandible. Fifth segment, first maxillae, a pair it is. Sixth segment, that labium, we can say labium. Okay, then the mouth parts of the cockroach in the head region, the mouth parts are present. Let's introduce the mouth parts one after another. The type of mouth parts in cockroach is said to be biting and chewing type of mouth parts. Basically, they are most primitive type of mouth parts in among all the insects here. That most larvae of insects are also having these kind of mouth parts. As we know, mosquito is having piercing and sucking type of mouth part, but their larva is having biting and chewing. Housefly, sponging and sucking type of mouth part, but larvae of housefly, maggot, is having biting and chewing type of mouth parts. Likewise, it's a primitive type which cockroach is having in adult stage, that biting and chewing type of mouth part. First of all, let us introduce, there are 5 types of mouth parts are present. This is the labrum, as we have seen above, that labrum attaches to the ventral edge of the clypeus, movably attached. We consider it as upper lip. And these two are the mandible, the triangular chitinous structures we say, these two are the mandibles. In between we will find hypopharynx, a tongue-like projection, and this is the green one, this is maxilla. First pair of maxilla we can see on 2 sides, and this is labium. So the 5 types of mouth parts: labrum, mandibles, hypopharynx, maxilla and labium. Let's take one after another. I introduce the labrum here. The diagram is shown again. The vertical rectangular plate it is movably connected to the clypeus, also called upper lip. It forms the anterior wall of preoral cavity. What is preoral cavity will come now. And it bear, labrum bear gustatory sensili on its surface. That means taste receptors are present here. It serves to hold the food and helps to taste the food. Labrum is a vertical rectangular plate movably connected to the clypeus, also called upper lip, and form the anterior wall of preoral cavity. It bears gustatory sensili on its surface, taste receptors, and labrum is serves to hold the food and helps to taste the food materials. Next, let's take mandibles, the triangular chitinous unjointed hard structures. These are the mandibles. A pair are present on the sides of the mouth, connected with the gynae, either sides of the franks and clypeus. We are seeing the cheek plates, ginae, their mandibles are connected to them. The inner margins have, these are the inner margins have teeth-like structures, and they help to masticate the food materials. And the mandibles are having that adductor and abductor, antagonistic muscles we see. One muscle work against another. That means here one muscle makes to move forward mandibles, and one muscle makes backward. That movement forward and backward makes the organism to masticate the food. As we said, as each mandible is helpful for the masticate the food. Each mandible has the incising and grinding teeth. These are the teeth here that makes the mastication of the food material. So, a pair of triangular, hard, unjointed, chitinous structures present on the sides of the mouth, connected with the ginae. The inner margins have teeth-like structures that help to masticate the food material, and the two pairs of adductor and abductor muscle helps the movement of mandibles, and each mandible is having the incising and grinding teeth. Let's take the third mouth part here. The first maxillae are situated on the sides of mouth, immediately behind the mandibles. First maxillae situated on the sides of mouth, immediately behind the mandibles. Let's take first maxillae here. Individual segments of the maxillae need to introduce ourselves. The first one, this is cardo, and this is called as stipes. Cardo and stipes. Need practice here. Then this hood-like portion, this one galea, we use it to say, and a pincer-like structure in the galea, that you can see lecinia, and a small scleroid lobe here, that is said to be palpifer. From the palpifer, a 5-segmented maxillary pulp is arised. Cardo, stipes, galea, lecinia, palpifer, and a 5-segmented maxillary pulp. Let's check once again. What is this? Cardo, stipes, galea, lecinia, palpifer, 5-segmented maxillary pulp. Let's interact. Here I will show the cursor and try to say the answer. Yes, cardo, stipes, galea, and this is lecinia. Very good. Palpifer, and its maxillary pulp, 5-segmented maxillary pulp. The actual division is like this. Basically, maxilla is having 3 portions: protopodite, endopodite, and exopodite. Protopodite include cardo and stipes. Endopodite include galea and lecinia. Exopodite include palpifer and 5-segmented maxillary pulp. Okay, then cardo attaches to the head, and stipes attaches to the cardo. There you can see stipes attaches to the cardo, and the galea, outer, it's a hood-like structure, part of endopodite. Lecinia is said to be pincer-like structure, resemble like forceps, hence we call it as pincer-like structure. And palpifer, it's a small scleroid lobe. Maxillary pulp arises from here. May get a question like that. Maxillary pulp arises from, that means from palpifer we should answer. And the maxillary pulp, what is it? A 5-jointed structure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A 5-jointed structure. It's used for the cleaning of antennae and front pair of legs. That antennae and front pair of legs are cleaned by this maxillary pulp. Usually we call maxillae as a biramous appendage. What is biramous? Bi means two, rami, branches. As you see here, maxillae is branched here. This one side maxillary pulp and other side our endopodite. This is called birami, the branched structure. Maxillae serves to hold the food and bring it to the mandibles. That means here it pushes the foodstuffs between the mandibles here during mastication. Let's come to the second maxillae. Actually, second maxillae is, should have the same cardo, stipes, galea, lecinia, but it is modified into a structure called labium or lower lip. It lies behind the first pair of maxillae. both the second maxillae fuse, what we said now, fuse to form a broad plate-like structure called labium. And labium is considered as lower lip. Second maxillae, labium consists of three portions: submentum, mentum and prementum. That I will show the submentum here. This is submentum, the green one, and this is mentum. These two, the pink ones, that we can say prementum. And the smallest portion, this is glossae, and this is called paraglossae. At the basis of prementum, we can see a scleroid lobe. We call it as pulpiger. Earlier in first maxilla, we said it as pulpifer. Now we say it as pulpiger. From the pulpiger, a three-segmented labial pulp is getting arise. See here, this is labial pulp. And individual structures are shown again in the given below. Let's see here. It's a submentum. As we said, submentum is the upper part of labium and it attaches to the head. The portion of the total labium which attaches to the head is submentum. And mentum, middle part of the labium. Mentum. Prementum, it's a lower part of the labium. Submentum, mentum, prementum. Some call submentum, mentum as a postmentum. It's collectively called a postmentum. And let's take glossae and paraglossae. The smaller portion, this is glossae and this is paraglossae. The distal end of the prementum. Location is the distal end of prementum. That a pair of paraglossae and a pair of glossae are present. In general, glossae and paraglossae collectively considered as ligula. This is glossae and paraglossae, ligula. That means we can say it as ligula. And I am showing here the pulpiger, the scleroid lobe. It is present at the base of prementum. It's there at the base of prementum. And from here that you can see the labial pulp, three-segmented labial pulp. Pulpifer, five-segmented maxillary pulp. Pulpiger, three-segmented labial pulp arises from here. Okay. Then this is all about the head region. That we said head contains 6 segments. Among the 6 segments, this head contain appendages here. As we said, appendages of the head. There are 6 appendages are there. First segment, appendage, no appendage in first segment. That let's go to that appendages we are shown earlier. That appendages. Before we go appendages, let's take the last mouth part here, that is hypopharynx. It's a rod-like structure, rod-like root structure and chitinous and hanging in the pre-oral cavity. Between the first maxillae hangs in the pre-oral cavity and it bears the opening of efferent salivary duct, which will come. We'll going to get this in digestive system the next session. And we say that hypopharynx secretes saliva because efferent salivary duct opens here. Hence we say it as saliva. So 5 types of mouth parts as we are seeing now. In the 5 types of mouth parts, labrum, labium, mandibles, first pair of maxillae and hypopharynx. Number wise 7 mouth parts are present. And among the mouth parts, that 3 mouth parts, mandible, maxillae and labium are appendages. That means outgrowths of the head region. Who are the left? Labrum and hypopharynx. We can't say them as appendages. They are not outgrowths. They are part of the body. Appendage. Let's take once again that appendages of the head region. The first segment has no appendages. And appendages of second segment are said to be antennae. It's a tactile and olfactory. Third segment, no appendage. Fourth segment, mandibles, a pair of mandibles. Fifth segment, appendage of fifth segment. First maxillae are a pair. Sixth segment, labium. Cockroach includes so much terms and that many labeled body parts. We may get diagrammatic questions even in the NEET. So that's why be careful that more practice is required over more practice. More practice in what way here, the labeled parts you need to practice again and again. So let's get the thorax and abdomen in the next session. Thank you.